And somewhere in the tree line, barely breathing, something enormous is already watching. This is the peak of the dinosaur dynasty. And it is magnificent, and it is merciless, and it has no interest in your survival. The Cretaceous period, 145 to 66 million years ago, is the longest chapter of the Mesozoic era, and the most extraordinary. The continents are pulling apart now, the world's geography becoming something we might almost recognize. Shallow seas divide land masses. Flowering plants are spreading for the first time, transforming ancient landscapes into something richer and more complex. Ecosystems are layering, diversifying, growing dense with life at every level. And into this abundance, evolution pours its most ambitious work. Herbivores reach scales that dwarf even the giants of the Jurassic. Predators respond in kind, growing larger, faster, more specialized, more intelligent. This is not a world in transition anymore. This is a world at its apex. The dinosaurs have had 150 million years to perfect themselves, and in the Cretaceous, the results are staggering. Multiple apex predators, each calibrated for different environments, different prey, different strategies. All of them lethal. Start in the north. Hell Creek. The floodplains of late Cretaceous North America stretch under a sky heavy with cloud, cut through by wide river channels that flood every wet season and bake to cracked red clay in the dry. Magnolias are flowering for the first time in these forests. Hadrosaurs move in vast herds through the lowlands, thousands of them, their hollow crests producing resonant, low calls that carry for miles. Duck-billed giants, some approaching 10 meters in length, feeding on flowering vegetation, moving constantly, always watchful. They have reason to be. Tyrannosaurus rex doesn't hunt like the predators of earlier eras. It doesn't sprint, doesn't run down prey in open field chases. It is too massive for that, 6 tons of muscle and bone, its legs powerful enough to cover ground at a pace that looks deceptively casual until you realize you cannot outrun it at a full sprint. What T-Rex does instead is pressure. It reads the herd, identifies weakness, and engineers situations where the outcome is already decided before the strike lands. Watch it now, moving along the edge of a hadrosaur herd at dusk. The hadrosaurs nearest it are shifting nervously, their calls changing pitch, shorter, sharper, a warning carried through the herd like electricity. The T-Rex moves parallel to them, not charging, just present, enormous and unhurried, testing the edges of their panic. At the rear of the herd, an older animal stumbles on a root hidden in the undergrowth. Recovers. But that half-second of stagger has already been noted. The T-Rex pivots with startling precision. The acceleration is sudden, not the explosive sprint of Allosaurus, but a controlled surge, ground-eating strides that close distance faster than instinct can process. The hadrosaur at the rear breaks away from the herd, exactly as the T-Rex expected. Exactly where it wanted it. The skull of Tyrannosaurus rex can generate the most powerful bite force of any land animal in the history of the Earth. What follows is not elegant. It is not subtle. It is the full expression of 150 million years of predatory evolution, compressed into a single, definitive moment. The herd moves on without looking back. Cross the ancient Tethys Sea. Travel south and east, to the flood-sculpted deltas of North Africa, where the Cretaceous wears a completely different face. Here, the rivers are vast and slow, choked with enormous fish, lungfish, coelacanth, sawfish longer than a school bus. The trees along the banks are dense and tangled, their roots half submerged in brown water. This is not T-Rex country. This is Spinosaurus aegyptiacus country, and Spinosaurus is unlike anything else the Cretaceous has produced. It is, by current estimates, the largest predatory dinosaur that ever lived. Longer than T-Rex, though built along different lines, a semi-aquatic body plan, dense bones to control buoyancy, short powerful hind limbs, a skull like a gharial's, studded with conical teeth designed not for crushing bone but for gripping slippery, thrashing prey. The sail along its back, or perhaps a muscular hump, rises nearly 2 meters above its spine. In the water, it moves with unsettling grace for an animal its size. Right now, it's standing chest deep in a river channel at midday, completely still, watching the water. Below it, the shadow of an enormous Onchopristis, a sawfish the length of a canoe, passes through a shaft of sunlight filtering through the surface. Spinosaurus strikes with no warning, no wind-up, no wasted energy. The jaws close with mechanical efficiency. The sawfish thrashes violently, its rostrum slashing the water white, and the Spinosaurus pins it against the riverbed with its body weight, holding on with the patience of something that knows it has already won. It feeds on the bank, back turned to the river, and the Cretaceous delta swirls quietly around it as if nothing has happened. Further south, deep into the continent that will become the Sahara, the landscape shifts again. Drier. More open. Acacia-like trees casting thin shade across a sun-hammered plain where the heat haze makes everything beyond 50 meters look like a dream. This is the territory of Carcharodontosaurus saharicus, and its name is not poetic overstatement. Shark-toothed lizard. Its teeth are laterally compressed, serrated, designed to slice through muscle and organ rather than grip and hold. Where Spinosaurus thrives in water and T-Rex dominates floodplains, Carcharodontosaurus rules the open landscape, built for taking on the enormous sauropods that still roam this corner of the Cretaceous world. It has found one. A paralititan, among the largest animals to walk the earth, is feeding at the edge of a shallow lake, its neck sweeping methodically through stands of vegetation. It weighs somewhere between 50 and 70 tons. The Carcharodontosaurus circling it at a distance weighs perhaps 7. The arithmetic of this encounter seems absurd. But evolution has not given Carcharodontosaurus the luxury of choosing smaller prey in a landscape where enormous sauropods are the dominant herbivores. It circles for 20 minutes, reading the sauropod's awareness, looking for the moment when the animal is turned away, its senses oriented in the wrong direction. When that moment comes, partial, imperfect, but enough, the Carcharodontosaurus attacks the flank, slashing deep and withdrawing instantly, because the tail of a paralititan can kill with a single strike. It doesn't try to bring the sauropod down immediately. Instead it inflicts, retreats, and waits. An ancient strategy. Slow, patient, and inevitable. The afternoon stretches long across the Saharan Cretaceous. Back in Hell Creek. The same T-Rex. A different day. It has found a Triceratops, alone, adult, 3 tons of bone and horn and muscle, its frill flushed with color, its 3 horns lowered and steady. This is not prey that runs. This is prey that turns and faces you. The brow horns of an adult Triceratops are over a meter long and capable of driving through bone. T-Rex skulls have been found with healed puncture wounds matching Triceratops horn dimensions. This has happened before. Not every encounter ends with a predator's victory. The two animals face each other across 20 meters of open ground. The T-Rex doesn't charge. It reads. It processes. It moves slightly left, watching how the Triceratops tracks the movement, measuring the speed of its response, the steadiness of its footing. This standoff lasts longer than most people imagine these encounters do. 3 minutes. 4. The Triceratops holds its ground perfectly, horns unwavering. Eventually, the T-Rex withdraws. Not in defeat, in calculation. There will be other opportunities. The mathematics of survival are long in the Cretaceous, and the apex predator that lives to hunt tomorrow is the one that chooses its battles with precision. It disappears into the forest at the edge of the plain. The Triceratops watches it go, still lowered, still ready, until the trees close behind it. 66 million years ago, a rock 12 kilometers wide hit the Yucatan Peninsula at 72,000 kilometers per hour. The dynasty ended in fire and darkness. But before that, in the 10 million years before that final catastrophe, the Cretaceous was the absolute pinnacle of what life on land had ever produced. Tyrannosaurus rex and Triceratops facing each other at dawn. Spinosaurus gliding silent through river-dark water. Carcharodontosaurus hunting giants on a sunlit plain. These were not primitive creatures fumbling towards some better design. These were finished things, perfectly realized expressions of evolution's deepest ambitions, each one fitted to its world like a key to a lock. The Cretaceous was not the beginning of something. It was the peak. The summit of a dynasty 230 million years in the making, blazing brightest in the moments before it was extinguished. And in its shadow, quiet, small, watching from the underbrush, the mammals were waiting for their turn.